Hi there, I'm Nemisha Owen, and you're listening to Live Your True Self, episode number 48. Remember this when you feel disappointed. After 18 years doing corporate, in 2018 it became about doing me and doing what I love. It wasn't that long ago that I too felt stuck, lost, and asking myself, who am I anyway, and what's my purpose? Full of self-doubt, fear of failure, and confusion. Fast forward to this moment and you'll see a version of me that's true to myself. Calm, confident, and clearer than ever before, inspired by Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita. One must deliver himself with the help of the mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So perspective is everything. And no matter where you find yourself on your spiritual journey, allow me to guide you to drop out of your head the busyness in your mind and drop into your heart, the sacred space that holds your beautiful soul, so that you too can awaken your true self and live life more meaningfully in this moment. Take a deep breath and listen on in. Are you a high achiever and action taker who values personal growth? If so, you know that the only barrier standing between you and your true potential in this next chapter is your own limiting beliefs and stories. It's time to break free and become the best version of yourself doing what you love. During our free consultation call, we'll connect on Zoom to delve into your journey. We'll assess where you are now, where you aspire to be, and most importantly, how we can bridge that gap together. In just 60 minutes, you will gain valuable insights and clarity with absolutely no obligation to commit. It's that simple. The session is guaranteed to be deeply supportive and insightful, leaving you with a clear roadmap to become your highest self. Don't hesitate any longer to tap into your goodness. Book your free consultation call now. Go to www.nemishapatelowen.com/book consult. Your higher self awaits. Hello, my lovely. Welcome back to another episode of Live Your True Self. How are you? I'm good. We're getting ready for a little time out with the family to just be and reconnect with the beauty of life and the goodness in my life. And actually, I've been reading the book Practicing the Power of Now, and there's a concept that I came across that I'm working on, and it's this idea that there's our life's situation, right, what's happening in our life in this moment, and then underneath that there's life, right, the beauty and abundance of life itself. So family, nature, growth, birds, the sun, sky, love, like all the goodness of life. So there's our life's situation, and then there's life itself. And our job is to notice the difference and focus more often on the beauty of life, and not necessarily be burdened all the time by perhaps our life situation as life. So anyway, this is what I'm leaning into this weekend, and really tapping into immersing myself in the beauty of life with my family and doing some fun things, and just leaving behind life's situation for a bit. And that would be my invitation to you. Like, how can you lean into life more, the things that bring you joy and lightness and ease, and just leave behind your life situation? But anyway, that's for another episode. Today we are building on what we spoke about last week, which was embracing emotions. And I touched on an emotion that I have been processing the most, which is disappointment. And on reflection, I noticed that I didn't delve into why I have been feeling disappointed and my thoughts about it. And I guess it's still quite real and raw, but nevertheless, I thought that I wanted to share my personal insights with you. And if you're experiencing disappointment, then this will really help you, because I've made great progress in terms of perspective around disappointment. And as I say, if you're feeling disappointed, I want to help you change your perspective and progress through the feels too, because I know it's not easy, and they don't teach you this stuff in corporate or anywhere. I don't think they just don't teach you this stuff. And so this is my job. This is why I'm here on this planet, to help you tune in to who you truly are and navigate our inner world. And this is one of the things that I've been doing. So for the past 18 months or so, I have experienced a lot of disappointment in my life. And just to say that I have also experienced a lot of joy and excitement and gratitude and, you know, all the other positive emotions as well. And both can coexist, right? We get to feel both. We can feel the wanted feelings and we can feel the unwanted feelings too, and at the same time, right? Both can coexist. But today we're focusing on disappointment as a build from last week, as I say. And it began for me with the sudden and unexpected loss of my beautiful daddy whilst in hospital in India. And he was away from home and away from us as family. We were back here in the UK. My mum was with him in India. But the grief that followed weighed heavily, not only on me, but also on my mum and our whole family, my brother and my sister and their family and my family. And it felt like a dark cloud that had descended upon us, leaving us feeling, almost helpless and lost in like a sea of shock and a sea of sorrow. And like in and amongst like this personal, hardship and like real, it's almost like a tragedy. I felt so disappointed in other aspects of my life too. My business, which I'd poured my heart and soul into, seemed to be experiencing like slow growth despite all the tangible goodness and all my best efforts. It felt like I was constantly struggling to make financial progress, leaving me feeling frustrated and disheartened. And I couldn't shake off the disappointment I felt in myself for not being able to reach and help more high achievers. And I set out with a vision to make a positive impact on the lives of others. And I know I am. And this podcast itself is a testament to that. But somewhere along the line, it felt like I was falling short of my goals. And another thing, again, on the personal side, that there was an incident that my daughter experienced at school, which left me like again grappling with feelings of disappointment and concern. And if you're a parent, like that seeing your child go through difficulties can be incredibly challenging. And I found myself questioning whether I was doing enough to support her. And just a general disappointment that she had to experience this, even though I know that through all these scenarios and situations that life presented had growth and had goodness and had insight, that there was a reason for them to happen, and I've shared it before, but I strongly believe everything happens for a reason. But that doesn't prevent the feelings of disappointment penetrating our body, right? And that is exactly what I was feeling, and I was open and honest to that. So these are just some of the things that I experienced. I know it's not necessarily like major things, but for me, as I say, it was a compound effect of all these things and me really paying attention to what was going on inside my body and what my body was trying to tell me. So despite feeling happy and excited and, grateful about so many things in my life, in and amongst these disappointments that I share with you, I felt overwhelmed and I felt tired and unsure of how to navigate the storm of disappointment that kind of raged within me. But as I say, amidst the darkness, I never gave up, right? I had a determination in me. I always have. I get it from my mum. I focused on finding the glimmers of hope and resilience. And it's like tiny sparks of light at the end of the tunnel, or, kind of light illuminating my path ahead and the next step and the next step and the next step. And, I strongly believe that it is always one thing at a time or one step at a time. But throughout this time, this sort of past 18 months or so, I've definitely leaned into and believe more than ever that everything happens for a reason. So disappointment was there and I felt it. And also I have a deep, deep sense of knowing that what was happening in front of me was happening for a reason. And I stayed connected to that no matter what. But I had to do something with the disappointment, right? That was on me to process. And that's what we're covering today. But let me share, a wise monk once said, when disappointment knocks at your door, welcome it as a sacred messenger from the universe. For within its humble guise lies the opportunity to deepen your faith, strengthen your resolve, and awaken to the divine grace within you and that surrounds you. Just let that sink in. So let's be clear. Disappointment is a universal human experience and totally normal. Nothing has gone wrong if you're like me and have been feeling disappointed. Whether it's a dream that hasn't come true yet, a goal that's fallen short, or an unexpected turn of events, we've all faced moments where life hasn't quite met our expectations. But they are there for us to notice and experience. Disappointment is here to guide us. And inspired by Elizabeth Gilbert's words in her book, Big Magic, let me just say this. It makes me feel sad when I fail. Or when things don't work out as I intended, right? I don't hit my goals or achieve what I want, or something happens that creates pain and suffering. It disappoints me. And disappointment can make me question myself as well as my actions and beliefs, but about what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. But having worked on myself and being at a point in my life and business journey, I've learned how to navigate my own disappointment without going too far down the rabbit hole of shame, unworthiness, and lack. And that's because through spiritual teachings and my own work of awareness and growth, I've come to understand what part of me is suffering when I fail and when things don't work out is just my ego. It's not my beautiful soul. It's that simple. Our ego often plays a significant role in how we experience disappointment. It's that inner voice that tells us we're not good enough, that we've failed, or that we'll never succeed, or that bad things always happen to us. But here's the truth. Disappointment is not a reflection of our worth as individuals. It's simply a natural part of the human experience. So how do we process disappointment in a healthy way? If you haven't done already, and even if you have, I suggest you listen or re-listen to the previous episode, Embracing Our Emotions, which takes you deeper into how to process emotions, whatever it is that you're feeling. And it's a beautiful practice where you get intimate with the conversation, with the emotions, and have a conversation to hear the wisdom behind the presence of the emotion and the positive intention behind the emotion. But the first step is to acknowledge and accept our feelings. It's okay to feel disappointed, right? We get to allow ourselves to experience these emotions without judgment or self-criticism. They are here for a reason. And it's worth saying that this is not always easy. Right? It is not always easy to be open and honest with how you're feeling, because we are naturally wired to be positive and want to be seen to be positive and uplifting and positive, in energy. But sometimes, we have the feels, and we get to be open about how we feel without that being who we are. And what the kiddos sometimes say, and I sometimes say, and you might notice that you say, "Oh, I'm tired," or I'm so frustrated, and then I'll say to the kids, you're not tired, right? And I'll say, you're feeling tired, or you're feeling frustrated. And it's such an important distinction and a separation between how you're feeling. That's not who you are. You are your beautiful soul. You are your true self. You're feeling something, and you get to be specific about that. So the first step is to acknowledge and accept how we're feeling. Next, it's important to reframe our perspective. So instead of viewing disappointment as a failure, we get to see it as an opportunity for growth and learning. And I ask myself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use it to become stronger and more resilient? And as I say, the question from last week's practice is, what is your positive intention behind being here? So you get to ask yourself these kind of questions to seek the goodness in the presence of what sometimes feels quite heavy emotions. And another helpful strategy is to really lean into and practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend or a loved one who's going through a tough time. And remember, like, we're doing our best. And, you know, you're doing the best you can with the resources that you have and life's situation. Like, you know, you are trying your best, and I certainly tried my best, but it doesn't mean that something's gone wrong. It just means that there are some feelings for me to pay attention to in order to seek the goodness and to process in order to move forward. And finally, I would say is that we get to focus on what is in our control. And this is a big one. While we may not be able to change the outcome of a situation or a situation that is unfolding in front of our eyes, we can always choose our thoughts and feelings in relation to it and how we respond to it, right? We get to shift our energy toward taking positive action and seeing the goodness in order to move forward, rather than dwelling on what could have been and what should have been and what isn't. And, you know, another belief that I have is this idea that we are where we are, or it is what it is. It's not good or it's not bad. It just is. And then you free yourself from this idea of good and bad, and you can really allow yourself to progress through with a perspective that fuels you and that fuels the situation and the people around you in order to move through it with love and compassion. But in the end, processing disappointment is about really tuning into and cultivating resilience and inner strength. It's about recognizing that setbacks and obstacles are not the end of the road, right? They are bumps in the road or detours on the path of our success and fulfillment. And either way, they help us grow. So the next time you feel disappointed, here's what I want you to remember. The only part of you suffering is your ego. And the one thing to remember when you feel disappointed is that your worth and value as a person is not defined by your failures or your setbacks or life's challenges. Disappointment is a natural part of the human experience. It's a natural part of life, but it does not diminish our inherent worthiness or the beauty of our soul. But as I say, and instead of dwelling on disappointment, we get to practice self-compassion, cultivate resilience, and trust in our ability to overcome the challenges. And I want you to know that you're stronger and more resilient than you think. And certainly my experience with each disappointment is that it's an opportunity for growth and learning. So when disappointment strikes, remember to be kind to yourself. Keep moving forward and believe in your inner strength to rise above it, and know that your worth and your value as a person is not defined by the disappointment or the failure or the setback that you've experienced. So let's make this real for you, and let's explore this more deeply with a short guided meditation to help you process disappointment and cultivate inner resilience. So find a comfortable position, seating or lying down, or you can be walking even. And if you can, gently close your eyes. And take a deep breath in through your nose, feeling your lungs expand with air. And then exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing any tension or stress. And bring your attention to your breath as it flows naturally in and out of your body, expanding your belly and contracting your belly. And notice the sensation of the air as it enters your nostrils, fills your lungs, and then leaves your body. Allow each breath to ground you here in this present moment. As you continue to breathe deeply, bring to mind a recent experience of disappointment. Allow yourself to fully acknowledge and accept any feelings that arise in your body without any judgment or any analysis. Remember, it's okay and totally normal to feel disappointment. Now imagine that you are gently hugging your disappointment in both arms. Holding it with compassion and understanding. Giving it a little squeeze just like you would a friend or a loved one. And visualize a warm golden light surrounding your disappointment, enveloping it with love and healing energy. And as you stay here, gently hugging disappointment, with each breath, feel yourself letting go of any attachment to the outcome of your specific situation. Release any judgment, self-criticism, or perhaps blame even, knowing that you did the best you could with the resources that you had and with the life situation in front of you. With the warmth of the golden light, allow yourself to find peace in this moment of acceptance. Now envision yourself stepping into a field of infinite possibility. Feel the ground beneath your feet as you stand tall and strong, knowing that you are capable of overcoming any challenge that comes your way. And take this moment to tune into the resilience that lies within you. Remember, no matter what disappointments you may face, you have the power to overcome them with resilience and grace. As we wrap up, bring your awareness back to your breath, feeling the rise and fall of your chest with each inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, breathe into your beautiful heart space, and gently open your eyes as you arrive back into the space that holds your beautiful body. Let me invite you to ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use it to become stronger and more resilient? What is disappointment's positive intention for me? Remember, when you feel disappointed, the only part of you suffering is your ego. Your worth and value as a person are not defined by your failures or setbacks. And disappointment is a natural part of the human experience. I hope that served you, my lovely. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful guided meditation and another episode of Live Your True Self. Until next time, keep shining your light and may you always live your true self. Namaste. Thank you for listening to another episode of Live Your True Self podcast. I would be super grateful if you would be kind enough to leave me a 5-star rating and review in Apple Podcasts. I really appreciate you, and this simple act helps me reach and impact more women on a path of self-discovery and helping them live their true self. Thank you.